Good afternoon, and welcome to the May 17th, 2023 Technical Review Committee meeting. My name is Ryan Fisher, and I'm a senior planner with Oldham County Planning and Development. So the purpose of this Technical Review Committee meeting is to review proposed subdivisions, zoning map amendments, and development plans before they go to the Planning Commission. This gives local agencies and utility companies the opportunity to review plans in advance, as well as adjoining property owners the opportunity to ask technical questions of the applicant or the agencies. With that being said, we have two items on the docket today. The first one is 23-005 Independence Village on 1800 Commerce Parkway in LaGrange. That is a development plan for 90 units, a multi-unit residential. So both of these hearings will take place the same way. We will first have the applicant come forward and give a brief overview and presentation of their plan. We will then have an opportunity for agencies to comment. And then lastly, if there's anybody in the audience that would like to have public comment, we just ask that those questions remain technical in nature of either the applicant or the agencies represented here today. So with that being said, we'll do the first docket. I know Mike wants to come forward and give us a presentation.
Thank you. Mike Hill, Land Design and Development. I'm here with Steve Moss on his project on Commerce Parkway at Allen Lane and the, what's it called? Sorry. Yeah, Ernie Harris. Right where they're building a new ramp, actually. It's a proposal on about 5.5 acres, 90 units. There's 5 buildings. Each building has 18 units in it, a mixture of 1 and 2 bedroom units. One entrance closer to the health department side, which that's right next door on the right. There are 177 parking spaces and several garages. I think we have 3 different garage buildings with 20 potential garage spaces within them. We propose to handle our own detention, stormwater through existing or proposed system of pipes and catch basins into the detention basin that's located on the plan. Is the other one up there, Ryan?
It's on there as well. If you go down to the folder at the bottom, you can pull the other one. It's actually go over 2 more, whatever that.
Here?
Nope, 1 more.
Yeah, it's all right. Anyway, it's just a closer shot of the site. That's basically it. So it's zoned correctly for multifamily. It meets the density maximum. It's under the maximum. We're happy to take your comments. Actually, I will say, we were here last year, you may remember, with a smaller version of this. The left parcel where the detention basin is shown was not included. Mr. Moss has since been able to acquire that property and add to this layout. So he was able to add that 5th building in there and increase the size of the development.
All right, thank you. With that being said, we'll open it up for agency comments. Our Assistant Director, Brian Fogel, handled this case, so I'll start down there with him.
Okay. Really nothing big, Mike, just technical things that are need to be either clarified or missing from the development plan, such as indicating the right-of-way dimensions for Ernie Harris and Commerce Parkways, the bearings and distances for the northern and eastern property lines, showing on the plan, because you have your corner lot, basically, the street side setback off of Ernie Harris, which is 25 feet. There is one catch basin that doesn't have a stormwater pipe connection. Again, minor stuff. Ownership information for the property that's at the north western quadrant of Allen Lane and Commerce Parkway. And then just having you guys calculate the floor area ratio and putting it on the development plan. And I calculated it. You're under, you're at an acceptable level. I'd just like to have it on the plan. That's the extent of my comments, and I will give you that in writing. I am sitting in for Corey Rusnick with City of LaGrange, who was not able to be here today, but he did email this morning a few comments, specifically from Corey in the City of LaGrange Public Works, An encroachment permit will be required from the city of LaGrange for any work performed in the Commerce Parkway right-of-way, and that you can get the application through City Hall. And they would like to have culvert sizing information provided to them during their construction plan review. And I'll give you a copy of this email also, so you'll have that in writing. And then just lastly, before I pass the baton here to Jim, he's going to go over his comments, but I've got a copy of that for you also that will hand you with these other things.
Great.
So just to clarify on the City of LaGrange issue, it's, I think what you were pointing out is that these parcels are not in the City of LaGrange. They're surrounded by the city, but they're not in the city limits. However, that portion of Commerce Parkway from Parker Drive to Button Lane is maintained by the city. So that's why he requires that he'll actually do the encroachment permit. Corey Rusnick will. That's correct. That's correct. A little special or unique circumstance there. The land disturbance area is greater than 1 acre, so as typical with this size lot, KYR 10 from the Division of Water and the Oldham County Stormwater Management and Erosion Control permits will be required. You'll submit as your firm typically does, construction plans to our office for review, ensuring that the detention basin and the stormwater is designed to our ordinances. Because your basin is discharging directly to the state right-of-way, typically they require a 25-year storm analysis in addition to our 2, 10, and 100, so you should include that 25-year. Indicate no trees in the detention basin within the 100-year water surface elevation. The discharge from the basin should not be less than 15 feet from the property line. Prior to release of any bonds, we'll want to see the drainage easement that encompasses the basin recorded with the county clerk. Just talked about the encroachment, and with that encroachment encroachment permit from the city, they may require a 35-foot radii for the entrance. Just confirm that with them, as well as any geometry within the site needs to be able to handle any emergency vehicles, trash trucks, buses that might come through there. The sidewalk, I think, and we noted this on your previous submittal for the previous plan that you mentioned, Mike, but a sidewalk along Commerce Parkway would be required. Understanding the future potential modifications or widening of Commerce Parkway to handle growth, we'll want to just coordinate that with you on future construction plan submittals.
On the timing of that, so
we don't want you to put a sidewalk in and then it gets
sidewalk.
ripped out.
Yeah.
So just coordinate that during construction plan. As far as a traffic impact study or traffic assessment, the trips generated from the site do warrant a traffic assessment. Now, with that previous submittal, you provided a traffic impact assessment that accounted for 80 units. You've only increased by 10 units, which only increases the peak hour trips by about 6. That wouldn't, I'm not going to require a update or revision to that traffic impact study.
Okay.
That's suitable as is. We will want to, similarly to the sidewalk, coordinate with you with regard to a left turn lane at Commerce Parkway and Ernie Harris Parkway. That previous traffic impact study noted that with this and other developments going in, that left turn lane westbound is warranted. So again, with the other future developments that we might see, we just want to coordinate that with you for construction plan review.
All right.
And all those notes are in the letter that
Great.
Brian's going to provide to you. Thank you.
I would just like to have a road name for this development.
Okay.
Just with the amount of units, we're using a new standard to issue separate addresses for every single apartment unit.
Just need one, I guess, one name because it's a little.
Yeah, just one.
Okay.
And we're just following a standard where, like, the building will have its own number, and the garage is just to keep permitting and things separated, easier for us.
Okay.
But that's all I have.
You said
Do you want to step to the podium, please?
You said each building will have its own number, or can we
Well, I mean,
address
every
each unit
apartment,
into, each apartment can have its own separate unit
Correct.
number on the street? Okay. And then you want the garages addressed?
no, we'll just use those for permitting.
He's going to do the addressing. All you have to provide us is a street name.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
And just make sure that it doesn't sound or duplicated. So just get with me with whatever you're proposing to name it, and we'll
Yes.
see if it flows with the rest of the county.
Okay, thank you.
Let them go through, and then I'll let you ask a question.
Okay, LaGrange Utilities, so
Yes.
we'll have extension agreements that need to be executed for water and sewer. Plans will need to be submitted to us prior to Division of Water for us to review. With that being outside the city, I want you to be aware our fees, tap fees, are considerably higher. So, and I'll need to know the number of, we base ours based on the bedrooms, and so if it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 1-bed, I'll need that breakdown so I can get your pricing on that. We will have a resident observer there, inspector during construction that you'll be responsible to pay for as well.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it with us.
All right. Got that?
Comment on that. At the time we brought the previous project in, there was some issue with capacity. Is there any difference there with that now?
No, we've corrected that, so we had to upgrade our pumps in that Clifford pump station.
Okay.
So there will be a fee for that, but it's split between all the developments that are going on there
Okay.
currently, so.
Keith Smith, LaGrange Fire Department. We'll be requiring one hydrant in here. I'll take a look and decide where I want it to be located. I would also like to, while it's not required, I would like for you all to, you have a little office building up there, correct? Is that attended all the time, or is there an on-site maintenance person going to live there?
If you'll step to the podium, Steve.
I'm sorry.
The office building won't be attended 24 hours, but there'll be phone numbers to get a hold of people.
Okay. Where I was going with that is then I'd like for you all to place a Knox box, K-N-O-X box, on that office building that supplies a master key for the fire department.
Oh, okay.
So that we can access any of the units there, for
Yeah,
fire.
if there's any emergency.
In an emergency, yes, sir.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
And that's a KNOX box?
Yes, sir. The best thing for you to do on that is to go to the LaGrange Fire Department website, which is www.lfrd.org. On the menu there on the left-hand side, you'll see, I think it says public information. And there, down near the bottom, it'll say Knox box.
Okay.
And it'll explain everything to you about how you purchase one of them. The least expensive one, the 3200 series, is what we need on there.
And you all have keys that fit that?
Yes, only the
Basically,
fire
we just need to
department.
mount it, and then you guys do the rest?
Yes, and then we come, when you get it, then we would actually have our key and we would close it up and lock it for you, and only the fire department has a key to that.
So we got to give you a master key?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
One more question for Scott. We're going to loop through there with a fire service, and domestic service can be the same loop?
Yeah, you're just doing a tap at the main? Are you going to have
What-
individual meters for each unit?
I'd like the individual meter
Yeah.
for each building?
Yeah, so we can come off that main.
Same, so we just
Yeah.
one loop through for the fire
Correct.
service and service of domestic as
Yes.
well?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So just like last time, now with the 90 units, that only at this point impacts us with 15 students based on the current number. Serving schools would be Centerfield, Oldham Middle, Oldham High. Based on that campus, it gets us to 111.93%, but also based on the other policies that dictate this, it's what, 75 units per year for apartments. It's 75 units per year based on apartments, which is in the county ordinance. So really, that's where we are with this one.
So, just don't go sit down anymore.
Okay. Depending on the time it started, if you start it late one year, you can just move over to the next year and the project basically is seamless.
They carry over.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Ward with the Health Department had a question.
So just being that we're your neighbors there, I have no objections or concerns with anything regarding it. It had been talked about doing like capital projects and us putting in a tree line or a buffer between that. Just since you all are here, just to clarify and let us know, like, I know it's landscaped on the aerial, but what your intentions are as far as doing that. If you plan on planting trees or fence line, just what you might have.
Yeah, I don't know what the regulations are. That plan shows some trees there. I don't know if that's in compliance with a specific landscape. Between commercial and residential, there's a 25-foot landscape buffer required.
So that's intended to meet the regulations.
Yeah. We just didn't want to do something redundant where we put up, 10-foot trees, then you all put up 10-foot trees, and then now they're growing into each other. So
Right.
we just wanted, and again, if there is or isn't, that's fine. We didn't want to be redundant in what you all might have been doing and what we were doing.
Should we coordinate that with you?
By all means, yes, please. Either myself or with Dee Dee Yance, that does our administration director, or with Matt Rhodes, the public health director. Again, I just didn't want to see, to be honest, taxpayer money spent on something and come to find out that you all were planning on doing a year later, and now we're killing trees because they're growing too close to each other.
What's your timing for wanting to plant there?
It was probably, something probably ideally in the spring when it's more applicable, but just knowing what the plan could be.
Yeah, well, we can submit the plan when we have it completed for you to review. And
Oh
we
yeah,
can
when the
just
time is right. Like
discuss
I
it.
said, it's just.
And you guys can work that out outside this
Oh,
meeting.
definitely. Yes, this is not. Yes, I'm just taking advantage of the situation. So.
Yep.
But no.
Okay. With that being said, if there's anybody in the audience that has any sort of public comment? All right. Seeing none there, that is it for that one. Appreciate it. So now we'll move to our next docketed item, 23-006, the Cautery at Dennison Lane, 109 LaGrange Road. So Phil Gambrell with Prism Engineering will come forward and give a brief presentation. And there's, it's on the PDF on there there you go.
This project consists of taking an approximate 10-acre site, dividing off 2.3 acres roughly for the existing residents, and taking the remainder of the property, dividing it into 6 1-acre buildable lots and 1.3 acre open space, which will be used for stormwater detention. A single roadway coming in with a cul-de-sac at the end. The length of it is less than what is the two sizes that you have listed. It's in the smaller size as far as right-of-ways and bubbles for the cul-de-sac. Stormwater, the site roughly flows from LaGrange Road towards the rear. So there will be coming in, there'll be a high point very near LaGrange Road. Everything will flow down through stormwater system into the basin and be detained and treated at that point before leaving the site. That's pretty much it. It's a pretty simple one.
All right. And if you'll just give us your name and address for Christie's record. So.
Okay. Phil Gambrell, Prism Engineering, 2309 Waterston Trail, Suite 200, Louisville, Kentucky, 40299.
Thank you. So with that being said, I'll start with the planning and development comments, and I'll provide you a letter here in just a second. I'll also send you the redlined plans because it'll probably make a little bit more sense than all my gibberish on here. So first off, the agency list at the top has a lot of incorrect information. I know you got that directly off that page that goes with the TRC. It really isn't needed on there, so if you just want to delete all of that agency list, you can. There's just a lot of people that either have retired or since moved on or whatever. Include the locations of any existing or proposed fire hydrants to ensure compliance with Oldham County Fire Hydrant Ordinance. And please include that in the legend. Include any areas of substantial existing trees, and I know there are, a lot on that lot, including a general description of their type and size, note trees that are to be removed on the plan. If that gets to be too much, we'll work with you on, because sometimes there's nothing but trees.
I've got the tree outlines on there.
Okay.
They're fairly dense.
Yeah.
So we'll give a general description.
Okay.
We will be cutting through that front one, obviously, to put the road in. But other than that, all other trees are going to remain.
Okay.
And there are sections in the covenants, pretty strict in the covenants for tree removal.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, label contour lines. I think that's something Jim Silliman has on his letter as well. Label any areas if there's sinkholes, lakes, ponds, marshes, or wetlands. Include any areas of steep slopes on the plan. If none are present, just add a note stating that no steep slopes on site over 30%. Note on the plans any access points for use by vehicles during construction, which I'm guessing is going to be that one. But include cluster mailbox location on the plan if USPS is requiring cluster box. Adjoining property owners, there's a few of those on here that are either incorrect or have an additional number added. So the adjoining property owner directly to the north, labeled as Denise Gilman, just has an extra 1 in the parcel number. Adjoining property owner to the northeast, labeled as Sue I. Wellnitz Trust, and as well as Michael Logston are both incorrect. There's a dash in there after PV. You'll be able to see that a lot easier on the red line plans. And then the parcel to the east of Lot 6 is incorrect and should be listed as a different property owner, and then as well as a different deed book and page number. And then the last one is the applicant should just clarify and relabel. This is also something Jim Silliman will touch on. The lot on the plan where the detention basin is located. And I know we had some conversation about that, of normally that lot number is listed as something completely different than what the lots are, where the buildable lots, as opposed to listing it as lot 5. So if we could just relabel that, clarify it a little bit differently of that open space lot for the detention basin, that would be great.
Just call it
So,
OS.
Yeah. And with that, that's all I have. If we want to go down to Jim Silliman.
Okay. Just to clarify, and he couldn't be here today, but the city engineer for City of Pewee Valley, I've discussed my comments with him. Ultimately, because this is in the City of Pewee and they have their own MS4 permit separate, they're not a co-permittee with the county, they will be reviewing this for stormwater permitting. But with that said, I did speak with Garrett Dean with the city, and I believe the Mayor Bob Rogers is here also, if he has any comments. Since the land disturbance area is greater than an acre, of course, you'll need to get the KYR 10 from the Division of Water, as well as a stormwater permit from the City of Pewee Valley. You do encroach on the LaGrange Road, which is a state right-of-way, so you'll need to get your KYTC encroachment permit from the state. Ryan mentioned labeling contours. We want to see that for future plan submittals. The layout of the roads, typically, of course, this needs to be designed to appropriate standards, whether ASHTO or KYTC for grades, and there's not a lot of geometry. It's a pretty straight road, but that'll come on future plan submittals. You show a sidewalk on your typical section on one side of the road where most of the lots are, or the buildable lots are. However, the subdivision regulations state that there should be sidewalk on both sides, so I think you would require a waiver for not having it on the other side. It seems like an easy waiver, but it's in the regulations. Right.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary to have them on both sides of the street, but all the way out to the last lot.
Do they need
for
a
sure.
waiver, though, because of the
Only where the lots are.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you have to provide sidewalks where the lots are.
Yes.
But not necessarily all the way down Dennison to 146. They can always walk across the street
Okay.
since it's a small cul-de-sac.
Okay.
Okay. So will I require a waiver then, since I'm not putting it?
Let me think about that. This is an unusual situation. I think it is, like Jim says, it's an easy one if it's required. But let me review it and I'll get back with you.
Okay.
Typical government answer.
So based on the traffic that you would generate, we would not require a traffic assessment or a traffic impact study for this, and I suspect the state would not either. Typically, they're looking at 100 trips or more, and you're not generating that. Lastly, the detention basin, Ryan mentioned, just clarifying that it is on an open lot and likely renumbering it, but also make sure it's encompassed by a detention easement or a drainage easement, and that should be recorded before the city would release a erosion control bond for the project.
That'd be a pretty easy easement to write. It's just lot.
Correct. And copy of all those notes, I think Ryan has given them to you, or they're available. Thanks.
All right.
I don't have any comments on this. Dennison Lane works, so we'll just number it appropriately.
All right. Thank you.
So I have letters for you all and ma'am. So we did our preliminary subdivision site evaluation back on Monday this week. Turned out fantastic. I totally agree that it's labeled Kreider Beasley soil. Everything 42 inches deep was exactly what I was hoping and looking for out there. So really didn't find any issues with sinkholes. There's no drainage or setback distances. So on-site sewage and septic out there, fantastic options for us to have. It's very nice silty clay loam soil. Now that we've done the preliminary, if or when it is plotted and subdivided, we'll come back out and do 6 individual site evaluations specific to those houses and number of bedrooms to be constructed. So this was just an overall impression, which turned out to be very good. We'll come back out there. I'll do this 6 more times. 6 more times for each house to be built if or when those houses are to be constructed at that point. But overall, I was very, very pleased with what came up all of that. So this would be for you all.
I guess then we'll go down to the end.
So, based on the 6 units and based on the current calculation, at this point, it would net us 1 student. The serving schools would be Crestwood Elementary School, South Oldham Middle School, and South Oldham High School. Based on the overall capacity impact with other developments in the area, it puts us at 111.24% of capacity, which is technically inadequate, but based on the capacity ordinance and multiplier, you would be guaranteed all 6 lots permits in the first year.
All right. Thank you very much. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to comment? All right. And I've got copies of Jim Silliman's letter, and then I've got 2 letters up here if you wanted to give one to Dennis as well. So with that being said, just for our internet viewing audience, if there are any, if you received notice as an adjoining property owner of today's hearing for either case, if and when they go to the Planning Commission or anything further, you will be notified of that as well as an adjoining property owner. So if nobody has anything else, we will call this meeting adjourned at 1:30. Thank you.